Alrighty, we are going. Welcome in, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Going the Distance podcast. My name is Ryan Bonnell, and alongside me is my co-host Elijah Span. We are currently live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all that jazz. It is Thursday rather than Wednesday. We both had very busy schedules yesterday. Just life happened, got in the way. But we're here. We're here to talk sports. We got a bunch of predictions coming on: NCAA, NFL, playoff picks, you name it. We're going to be talking about it ahead of the 2022 season, as well as a few other tidbits here and there. But before we get into anything, be sure and check us out on social media over at GTD_sports, other than TikTok, where we're at GTDsports.com. You can also find all of the rest of our content on that website, GTDsports.com, other podcasts, blogs, everything like that. And also forgot to mention our personal accounts. As you see on the screen, I am at Ryan Bonnell 8, and Elijah is at Elijah Span 19. Excuse me. But yeah, I think that's. Oh, and last but not least, sorry. Make sure to use code GTDS125 when you sign up at BetUS Sportsbook for a 125% deposit bonus. Yeah, you can find that on our website. Giant ad, pretty simple, but let's go ahead and get into it. Starting things off before we get into the nitty gritty with a highlight and low light from our past week. Elijah, take us away. What do you got?
Highlight is that we're inching our way to football season. Like every day by day, we get closer, and
Indeed.
we're now 2 weeks out from week 0.
I was gonna say, yeah, college football is even sooner.
It's like 10 days.
Yeah.
It's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Which week 0 sucks, but it's still football. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no major games, but you already know I'm gonna be throwing like 5 same game parlays or some ridiculous shit.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna have like. I've already decided on Northwestern plus 12.5 against Nebraska.
See, I haven't even looked at the lines. I guess.
Oh, I've been looking at the lines. I've been excited.
I need to get on that. Yeah, it's coming.
So
I've been looking at a bunch of future odds though. Like I've been doing a bunch of future research, trying to get all that set in stone before the season starts.
Been trying to stay away from too many futures so it doesn't take away from my credit on the book.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I mean, for me now in real life, I don't even have credit, bro. I've had to put the money up front.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully, I hit that crazy UFC bet that I mentioned last week.
Oh yeah,
because I used like 90 out of that 800 to put on various future bets. So hoping it pays off. It's basically like a little investment. It's like I'm just treating it as if I put $90 into like the stock market or something. It's
basically just as risky. So
yeah, I gotta get it back later.
Yeah. And then low light is I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna end up buying Madden 23. And
you are or aren't?
Are.
Okay.
And Madden just is every time I buy Madden, it just fucks me over, just plain and simple. Because it's always the same thing every year. You pay for a reskin.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, it's like
it's
I think 20 was my last one that I got.
20 was my last Madden, so it's kind of in time. This is my first opportunity to play it on PC, and mods are enticing.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna end up buying it on Steam for the full $60, which is just like.
Ouch. Yeah. Well, you may want to wait.
Defeating.
I don't know. They do like. I guess the summer sale's probably over, but they do like a big winter sale. But I know that would be
for Black Friday, but like that's a lot of Madden left to play. I kind of want to play it. I want to go back to dominating people online.
Yeah.
Because I put in well over 100 hours into Madden 20.
See, I'll tell you how much of a slight gambling degenerate I am because I had a phase on Madden 20. I think it was Madden 20. Where I had this app, my freshman year roommate introduced it to me because he used to run big money on 2K because he was good at 2K. And it's called like Players something, I don't know. But you basically post like, I want to play FIFA for a $20 wager with like certain guidelines, like no using this team or something. And then somebody will take it and you just join the game and you play them. And it's like, I kind of lost a lot of money doing it. It wasn't very good. Not like a lot. I would do like $5 games. I was never I never trusted myself that much. Just made it more fun. But what I was gonna say, speaking of sports video games, have you seen the news with like EA, like the new NCAA football game? Because they just announced that it's only next gen. But I want it to come out on PC, bro.
So I think that would include PC.
Yeah,
it has to. Yeah, PC's always included. They wouldn't just. Well,
it says right now it's to be decided. So.
Oh really? That's fine. Yeah. I still have NCAA 14 downloaded as a mod and modded out like I play with Max Duggan and shit right now on.
Yeah, well I know there's like NCAA all 14. Those mods and tweaks you can make to it and like the revamped stuff you can get. But yeah, I have 14 too, but I want the new one, man. Honestly, if it comes down to it, bro, I'm buying the PS5 just for that. Like, I would. I
thought about buying a PS5.
I would have to. I just don't play console enough. But all right, anyway, enough about video games.
Yeah.
So I kind of mentioned it already, but because last week's highlight was that giant UFC parlay. But this has overall been like probably the best sports betting streak I've been on in a while. Most of my balance has come from that one parlay, but still, all in all, I've been like profiting consistently, like every day. I've turned $60 into $1,100 since I got here. So yeah, that parlay helped because it gave me the balance to like actually place bets, So for the last couple of weeks, man, it's been fun. I mean, but yeah, and low light of the day or of the week, I mean, and it's not like a heavy low light. It's like half and half. I'm back to class. I'm getting my master's at ASU, and it was weird because, like senior year of college was like, oh, it's my first day of school. I thought, so here I was back going to school again. But also, it's also a highlight though, because it's, a really cool opportunity and everything, yada, yada. But yeah, so that'll be fun. But let's go ahead and get into the actual sports portion of the sports podcast. And before we get into, the title, the college football NFL predictions, there's been a couple noteworthy baseball shenanigans going on that I feel like we kind of had to touch on a little bit more than just in Love It or Loathe It at the end of the episode. And the first one is mostly because Elijah and I are both fans, and I'll kind of mostly let Elijah explain what it means. But for those who don't know, the Texas Rangers fired their manager, Chris Woodard, and their president of baseball operations, John Daniels, within the last week. So, which I kind of found as a surprise. I'm not like a diehard Rangers fan by any means. Like, I'm a fan. I'm kind of a casual Rangers fan, but I didn't expect this because it seems like they're doing a little bit better than expected this season. They just brought in two big names with Seager and Simeon. Like, they have decent prospects, so it's interesting.
Well, Woodard is it Woodard? I always thought it was Woodward. Is this? We get it.
I always thought it was Woodard. Fact checking.
It's Woodward.
Woodward. Okay. Typo.
Okay. So anyway, he's 6-24 in one run games. That was hard to say. And so that's like one of the worst stretches in baseball. If we even were like 500 in those games, we would be a 500 ball club, and close to contending for a wild card spot. So that's why. And it's been kind of a long time coming. He's never been successful as a manager, but given the roster, that is not entirely all his fault. But he's made a lot of questionable decisions in terms of managerial things. But I mean, he's done some good things. I don't know if it's because of him or because of other guys on the staff, but like we've always turned veteran, like throwaway free agent signings into diamonds in the rough. Like we did it with Kyle Gibson, we did it with Mike Minor, we did it with Lance Lynn, and we're doing it now with Martin Perez. So that's some bright spots, but that's like really the only bright spots. If we found like one good pitcher that's a throwaway signing every single year.
Yeah.
But John Daniels.
Perez has been money this year, man.
Perez has been money.
Yeah, he's been money.
John Daniels, it was time for him to go too. He's just 17 years.
See, that's the one I understood more because he's been there throughout the World Series run and everything, where we didn't actually win a World Series. So I understand that kind of needing a change of pace there, a change of the guard, if you will. So that made more sense to me. But they're stepping up the GM, right, to fill in the role.
Yeah, Chris Young's going to do it, which I'm a fan of because he's the one. I mean, he orchestrated the 2 signings for Simeon and DeSenior.
I was just about to say he did pretty good this offseason and in the draft with getting lighter and everything.
Yep, he did. He did last year's draft. And he did this year's draft. Got 2 of the best pitching prospects, with Kumar Rocker and Brock Porter, which we signed.
Dude, Rocker was. I remember that because a lot of people were saying they were surprised he went so high, because he has injury history. He's been off for almost a year now.
Yeah, but he's sick.
That guy was a dog. Yeah, that guy was insane. So I'm excited. Yeah, I hope they bring them up ASAP.
So,
yeah. Anything else on the
fan of Chris Young. That's the only thing I'm going to say. So I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. All right, in other baseball news, this is probably a little bit more major nationally, is Fernando Tatis. I don't even know what to call him, but he's, I guess, just a fan favorite, you could say. So he was suspended 80 games after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. I mean, that it is what it is. That's kind of wild. He's one of those young stars in the league that everybody kind of clings on to, and although it's maybe a little bit overhyped and overshown, he's just one of those guys that ESPN and Bleacher Report love to play the highlights of. This isn't what you'd expect. So I mean, what do you think this will mean long term for Tatis beyond just the 80-game suspension?
It hurts his legacy first and foremost.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Because he already has such a good legacy at such a young age,
Yeah, he's already one of the brightest stars in baseball that ESPN just loves to ride.
Yeah.
But another thing, too, is that he's kind of lying about how he tested positive. He's saying that he tested positive because of ringworm medication, but it turns out that he said that it was Cobestol. Well, he tested positive for Colabestol or something like that. Vice versa.
I remember what I read. I don't understand. Because it happens in the UFC a lot, or not a lot, but occasionally. And there's so many performance enhancing drugs. I don't even know what they are, what they do, what they're supposed to do. So the names and everything like that confuses me.
Yeah, no, it's but he definitely took steroids is the deal.
So do we know though how long he's been taking them, or is there any way that they can tell that? Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's
and he's gonna deny it for the rest of his career.
Yeah, because I was about to say, maybe people are gonna start kind of illegitimizing his first few years in the league, so because of it. But I mean, I don't know. I think we've talked about it before on the podcast. The use of steroids in the MLB. I'm honestly not super against it if they just allowed it. Just let them.
Nah, the older I've gotten, the more I'm just dude, fuck it. Just let.
Yeah, right.
Because they all do it.
Exactly.
All those guys have done it at NFL, NBA. You think LeBron's never taken steroids before?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can say that.
He's 38.
I can't say that.
He's still one of the most athletically fit people in the world, and you're telling me he's all natty?
Dude, but LeBron's also just that freak of nature.
Okay. But I don't know. TikTok kind of opened my eyes to the world of steroids and how much guys use steroids because gym TikTok, it's all dudes that are not natty that just take Tren.
I've seen comments and people asking, where do you get your Tren? I mean, I've kind of noticed it more as a trend, not a trend, but just as an actual thing that goes on in professional sports within the UFC. As I've gotten to be a bigger UFC fan, and it's on one end, it's with the UFC, it pisses me off, but with baseball, it's go for it, man. Let's hit some dingers. If that's what you want to do to your body, by all means, man. Like,
Yeah.
so, but the traditionalists, they don't like that so much. So, alrighty though, that's pretty much it for the baseball. Let's get down to the nitty gritty now, and we're going to start with college football predictions before we get into the main chunk of NFL picks. And starting off, we're going to go ahead and get into conference champions before we go. We got conference champions. We're going to do some, we're both gamblers here, so we're going to do mostly sports betting picks for college. So conference champions, over/under win totals, Heisman winner, and playoff national championship picks. So starting off with conference champions, I'll go ahead and go first. We can rotate if you want. So in the Pac-12, I have Utah at plus 250, and I think this is an absolute lock. I think it's Utah or Oregon or nobody else. So with that being said, I'm curious to hear who your Pac-12 pick is.
USC.
God, I'm glad you picked that because that's disgusting.
The Lincoln Riley effect, dude. He's gonna take over. Like, I think it's gonna be Jim Harbaugh-esque that he's gonna take over year one. He's gonna implement. I mean, he's already got Caleb Williams there.
Okay, yeah, his quarterback followed him from Oklahoma. What is that going to do? He didn't win a natty, I guess he did win a conference with Caleb Williams. But all right, continue though.
Well, I lost my train of thought since you interrupted me. No, I'm just kidding. I just think that he's going to insert just life into a program, just breathe life to it year one. We see this a lot with college coaches that they just year one they just take over, and I think Lincoln Riley has that effect, and he's got the ability to do it. I mean, USC is begging for good football, and I think he's the man to finally bring it back to where it should be, because it is one of the premier programs. It's like it's a top 5 job, right? Is it?
It is. It's sadly
they always get recruits, and I think that he can bring in what they've been lacking, and that's the big boys.
They always do. Recent years, though, the recruiting has fallen off a little bit just because they have been so unsuccessful for like the past decade almost. But no, I do agree that Lincoln Riley is a hell of a coach. God damn it, I'm blurry right now on my camera. I don't know what's going on. But I agree that Lincoln Riley is a hell of a coach. I agree that he will have an effect on this program. I just don't think it's going to happen year one. I do think they're going to be a better team than last year. They're going to make a bowl game. But Utah is hot. Their program trending in the right direction. Oregon looks really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with USC, and I've said this time and time again when we talk about college football, I am an avid USC and Notre Dame hater. Those are the two programs that I just absolutely can't stand because they're overrated every year. And USC as the favorite to win the Pac-12 blows my mind. After going 5-7, and the only major change to their roster was adding Caleb Williams, like that's absurd to me. I think the market is overvaluing them because they know people are going to take that line regardless.
Well, they're kind of like UT in a sense, where they always have talent, they just haven't been able to put it together.
You're right. Yeah,
Lincoln Riley can unlock the potential of the talent that they already have on the roster.
That's what they said about Steve Sarkisian. Did it happen? That's what they said about Tom Herman. It didn't happen.
Yeah, for UT, but I think I think
know.
UT is going to prove you wrong this year. I think that they're in for
I've said
potentially
I think
10-win season.
Time. I think you give Sarkisian time, he will get the program good. But this next year already, I think they go 8-4 Texas. But
that'd be a step up.
It is a step up. I think they get better, but they're not like back.
Dude.
We'll
once Arch Manning comes in, Quinn Ewers is going to be really good.
I think Quinn Ewers is going to take that job, and I think Arch Manning is going to transfer by the end of his redshirt year.
No, I doubt that. I think that it's going to be Arch Manning is going to take the job probably from Quinn Ewers, even though Quinn Ewers is going to be good, probably.
I don't know, man. It's really hard because what I see happening is with those guys both coming in like close to the same time, I see one of them winning the locker room, and then one's going to win the locker room, one's going to not. And
it's probably going to be Arch because Arch has already had the Arch Manning effect and brought in a lot more good recruits for UT.
You are right about that. He has brought a lot of big names in with him. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. That's just my theory. I think because if Arch Manning had gotten there first, I would say Arch Manning's going to start, But Arch Manning is planning to redshirt his freshman year, which means Ewers is going to have a full year at the helm. So, and it's tough to replace a quarterback who played a good season, and I think Ewers is going to have a good season. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. It's one of the more fascinating situations in college football right now.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not often you get the two best quarterback recruits in the history of recruiting at the same campus in the same year. So, yeah. All right. So you got USC. I got Utah for the Pac-12. Moving on to the ACC. Now, this is a mega lock. I'm throwing this in a future parlay. I already got one big future parlay with it, and that's Clemson to win the ACC at -120. They were -750 last year, and they didn't win, of course, but that's absurd that they're only -120. Clemson's not done. Just because they had a 10-win season, they're not done. Okay, Dabo Swinney era is not over. They're going to be just fine. Nobody else in the ACC competes. The only other team would maybe be Wake Forest, but their quarterback Sam Hartman just had a potentially season-ending injury. They're done. He was their entire offense. They're done. Clemson has no competition. Unless Miami has some crazy comeback season with Cristobal at the helm, but
they're not there yet. The Canes are another. They're another. Are they back?
They're another
situation.
USC. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% that Clemson is going to take this division and run with it because who's going to win it? I mean, not Pitt. They lost their two best players last year. Kenny Pickett to the draft and what was his name? Jordan Addison.
I believe so.
Addison to the transfer portal. Which didn't he go to USC actually?
Let me double check where he went.
Because if so, that's another huge pickup and another reason why I like USC.
He is USC, yeah. That actually is a really big pickup. Okay, yeah. That is, yeah. Still not big enough to win the Pac-12, but
it's okay.
We'll see.
What were you gonna say? But yeah, no, Clemson all the way. They're by far. They have just count the stars. Okay, that's all you have to do. Count the 4 and 5-star recruits that they have.
Yeah, and like UNC has been overrated in recent years. With Sam Howell, De'Ami Brown, Javonte Williams, all those guys. They're all gone. Everybody's gone. UNC is no competition. Clemson's going to run away with it. Moving on to the Big 12. Now, don't hate me as a TCU fan. I hate saying this. It's just it pains me on my inside. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma at +200. I'm very, very surprised that they are at plus odds to win the conference. Dylan Gabriel, they just brought in a big transfer from UFC. If you don't know about him, he's averaging like 4,600 yards per year at UCF.
Don't forget about General Booty.
Oh my God, General Booty.
The best JUCO college player last year. I don't know if he was the best, but he's the best name.
He was good. No, you're right. He was really good.
He was good. Didn't he have like 600? He had like a 600-yard, 8-touchdown game or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something ridiculous.
Yeah, his name was made to be famous, but unfortunately, he's going to be the backup because I hope they bring him in some like weird way, how they used to use like Blake Bell as the belldozer, something like that. But yeah, so Dylan Gabriel and Marvin Mims is going to be a hell of a connection this year. Their defense is only going to get better after they hired Venables as their head coach. So I think it's either them or Oklahoma State in my mind. So that's my championship game matchup for the Big 12.
Yeah, I like Oklahoma State's value at +550. That presents a lot of good value because they do have a chance to win it this year. Like they've got a lot of talent.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they're going to be a good football team. The only thing that really turns me off is Spencer Sanders, the quarterback. He's true. He's either going to put up 400 yards or he's going to throw 4 interceptions. Like
he's an enigma.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know what you're going to get. But all right, and I don't have any other major conference picks. I passed on the Big Ten and SEC because the odds are just so shitty. It's obviously going to be Ohio State in the Big Ten, and it's more than likely going to be Alabama in the SEC.
Yep.
Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But I am going with a group of 5 bet. Give me Marshall to win the Sun Belt at +550. They've won at least 8 games in 8 of the last 9 seasons. And a lot of times, 8 games is enough to win the Sun Belt Conference. So give me the Thundering Herd at plus 550. All right, let's go on now to some over-under win totals. I'll let you start us off here. What do you got?
Oklahoma State over 8.5.
8.5 is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that one. I didn't even see that one when I was looking through.
Yeah, I got these odds from FanDuel.
I like that one a lot, yeah. I might have to throw that into a parlay. Sheesh.
Yeah. If I can do future parlays, then I would definitely make one for more futures, but I can only play straight bets.
Fair enough. Yeah, with future. Yeah, well, it's weird. Even on FanDuel, like, I don't think I can combine multiple over-under win totals into the same parlay. Like, it would have to be, like, one win total, one conference champion, and, like, one other. Like, it can't be, like, the same thing. Like,
gotcha.
So it's still kind of complicated, but I'll stick with the Big 12, and I got a few picks in the Big 12. So I got Oklahoma, just following what we were just talking about. Oklahoma over 9.5. I like both of those to hit a lot. I think these are both 10-win programs, at least 9-win teams. And as I said earlier, I think Texas is going right on the dot, 8-4. I'm going with Texas under 8.5. This prop has hit for like 6 years in a row. Texas has not had more than 8 wins. Actually, they've had more than 8 wins once in the last 10 years. So I'm just going, if history repeats itself, I'm going with it. And then last but not least, I'm making a homer pick, and that's TCU over 6.5. I think Sonny Dykes has done a fantastic job so far coming into the program as a new head coach. Don't know exactly what's going on at quarterback yet. That's the big question mark. But the offense, regardless, is going to be exciting. And I think we go 8-4 or 9-3, honestly. So I think 6.5 is easy cash. All right. So what else do you got, though, outside of the Big 12?
I got UNC under 7.5. I don't see them performing very well because they weren't that good last year, and they lost a pretty good quarterback in Sam Howell.
Yeah, I have the exact same pick. Yeah, they're dog shit. Well,
and then
they've hit their prop for over under has been like 10.5 the past 2 years. It's been ridiculous. It's still not going to hit. But all right, yeah. No. What else you
got? Penn State under 8. I'm not seeing
interesting.
It this year.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Penn State. They've lost a lot of guys. You know, their schedule's tough. Obviously, playing in the Big Ten. I feel like 8-4 is about where they're going to end up. What is their non-conference schedule? Let me see. I got to see their non-conference. The non-conference schedule is crucial for these over-unders. Okay, Purdue, Ohio, and Auburn. Purdue on the road in week 1, that's upset alert. That's actually upset alert. Purdue is a little bit of a sleeper this year, not like to win anything, but to do better than you think. Ohio's a free win. Auburn on the road, that's also really tough. So, yeah, I like that actually because they could potentially lose 2 of their 3 non-conference. So, all right, I'll go back again with these 2. I don't really have to explain much because these are my conference champion picks. I got Utah over 9. I think they're a 10-2 team for sure. They may lose to Oregon, may lose to UCLA. They win 9 games. And also Marshall over 7, which they have not won less than 7 games. I guess let me reword that. They've hit the over 7 8 of the last 9 years. So and I also really like those 2 because they're even numbers. It gives you the opportunity for a push, you know, if they happen to go right on the money. So a push is okay. We take pushes.
Let's see what else I got. I got Ohio State over 11. I think Ohio State's just going to dominate this year. And they're a repeat customer for me. We'll get to them later. And then UCLA under 8.5. I'm just not buying the Chip Kelly area at UCLA.
I like the UCLA pick, and I would say I like the Ohio State pick, but it's so hard for me to bet on overs that are like, you know, 11. Like they can only make, like they have to be perfect basically. Which I do agree that I think Ohio State can. Like I think they're more than capable of going 12-0 this season. But my last 2 picks, I got one SEC, one Group of 5. I have Ole Miss over 7.5, and I really, really like that pick. They've got a lot of big names coming in. They got Utilis Bentley from SMU, huge running back. Zach Evans, huge running back from TCU. They got Jackson Dart, big recruit coming in, or I guess transfer, coming in at quarterback. So I like all of those guys to make a splash. Give me Ole Miss over 7.5, regardless of their tough schedule. And then SMU, another reason because they lost a lot of guys opposite to Ole Miss. SMU under 7. They lost their head coach, lost their assistant coach, lost their running backs coach, lost their wide receiver. I can go on and on. They lost a lot of guys. The only thing they got going for them is Tanner Mordecai, quarterback transfer from Oklahoma. Don't think they're going to really be anything. They lost Utilis Bentley, too. They're stud running back. So under 7. Let's move on now to the fun stuff, and that is our Heisman winner. Now, what do you got, Elijah?
Heisman winner, C.J. Stroud. I think that's I think he's your guy. I mean, Bryce Young already won it.
Yeah.
So I'm picking him. I think that he's gonna have another crazy numbers year. He still has awesome weapons, even though he lost 2 to the draft this year, and he's only gonna get better.
Yeah. See, I really like C.J. Stroud, but the thing for me is that his odds, he's like the heavy favorite at like plus 325 or plus 300, something like that. And yeah, I agree with, like you said, Bryce Young already won one. I doubt it's going to happen again. But I'm going to go kind of out of the box here. And like I said, I would love Stroud. I think that's the correct pick. But for my value pick, I'm going to go with Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I'm going to hope that it's one of those repeat years like Alabama, where Mac Jones and Devontae Smith were both finalists in New York for the Heisman. And the receiver got it rather than the quarterback. So I like Jackson Smith and Jigba, plus 2,500, huge odds. He's going to have a massive year. He's going to be literally the focal point of that Ohio State offense, which is going to be nuts. And another dart throw that I might just take a little jab at is Anthony Richardson at plus 4,000. I think he is the exact type of athlete that could win a Heisman. He's one of those Lamar Jackson type guys that could do it if he wanted to. Well, not if he wanted to, but if things fall in place, because Florida has to have a hell of a season in order for him to win the award. They have to have at least 10 wins, which I don't see happening. So that's why it's really a dart throw. But I do like Anthony Richardson a lot. So,
okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, you got any rebuttals on those or?
No. I like your dart throw.
Yeah,
he's athletic.
He is. He's a fun player to watch. Yeah,
and Jackson Smith and Jigma. I mean, why not another wide receiver? This is the age of we're in the golden age of wide receivers right now. So,
dude, there's been so many good ones lately. It's insane.
And I know we're talking about college, but I watched a top 100 catches of the NFL for the 2021 season, and just even no-name guys. Like I watch pretty much every single NFL game. I got Red Zone every single Sunday. I got a couple of TVs on different games. There was guys that I didn't even know who they were, just having insane catches. Like this is the golden age of wide receivers.
Yeah, it's so deep. I mean, even we were talking about fantasy football last week. It's just so deep. You could get something golden in like the 13th round nowadays. But all right, let's go on now to the granddaddy, and that is our playoffs and national championship picks. So I'll start us off. And I think we've kind of mentioned it before on the podcast, so it's not a huge surprise. But I'm going with Ohio State at plus 300 to win it all. I think this is borderline obvious. I think it has to be Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson. It has to be one of the big dogs. It has to. So I'm going with Ohio State. I think they have a hell of a team.
Yeah, I'm also going with Ohio State. I've already made my future on this. I put 89 to win 356 at plus 400. I like those.
I like that.
that. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. It was free play that I had. That's why I was able to place it. That's why it's the weird $89.
That's a smart
but
way to use
that's
free play.
Probably going to be free money for me. So I think it's Ohio State's turn to win it all. I think they have the team to do it. I just, it's Alabama scares me because they win it every other year. Yeah. But with those, I like out of the Big Four or Big Five now with Georgia, they have I like them the best, basically.
I agree because Alabama
with
is
their
like
odds.
straight up minus 120, which is just
I'm not doing
absurd. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. That's not even worth the play. I also have Ohio State in the future parlay, which is I have Ohio State winning the national championship. Spoiler: I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl and the Milwaukee Bucks winning the NBA championship, and that's like $15 to pay out. I think like 2,000. Like it's
Nice.
pretty big. So very unlikely. But anyway, wrapping up, I also for a value play, if you want to really talk about dart throws, give me Ole Miss. I'm jumping on the Lane. Okay? I really like Lane Kiffin as a coach. I really like all these guys he's brought in. They had a good season last year. You never know, okay? They're Alabama's kryptonite. You never know. Plus 10,000. That's a value play. Maybe throw like $1 on it. Hey, who knows what can happen? But
who's their quarterback?
Jackson Dart. He's the transfer from USC that never got to play because of Keaton Slovis.
Right.
Yeah, but now Keaton Slovis left. Actually, wait. Keaton Slovis is at Pitt. I'm pretty sure. But really? Keaton Slovis sucks. Yeah, he's the Pitt quarterback. He transferred. Keaton Slovis is always overrated. But anyway, and then wrapping up the playoff picks, I also have Oklahoma to reach the playoffs at plus 450 because I think if they win the Big 12, which is what I see happening, there's almost no way the Big 12 champion gets left out this year. And also I got Georgia to miss the playoffs at minus 120. It's going to be Bama. Bama's coming out of the SEC this year. So, all right. That's all I got for college football. Very excited for kickoff. Very excited for week 0 and everything to get started. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our podcast favorite, and that is the NFL. So we're going to do some playoff picks starting off rather than we'll get into our Super Bowl picks and our AFC Championship, but we're going to go 1 through 7, who we see. And I think let's alternate. Let's go 1, 1, 2, 2, Starting with the AFC, all 7 of our playoff teams. And for my 1 seed, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. They're the Super Bowl favorites. They're going to have a hell of a season. Josh Allen, MVP favorite. They're destined for success. There's almost very little that can go wrong.
Okay. I also agree. Bills 1.
Yep, Bills 1. All right. And then number 2, I got my Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think we're going to repeat last year in the sense of our playoff performance. I think we win a first-round game. But it was really hard deciding where to put everybody, because I think we go 12-5 this year. So I like the Bengals at 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I have the Raiders at 2 because this could go lower. It was hard for me to seed. I could only just pick the teams.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Beyond the 1 seed, I really couldn't pick the seed. I could just more so pick the teams.
Yeah.
So this could end up biting me back in the ass. But the Raiders are definitely a playoff team.
Yeah,
I have them to win the division, as we already talked about.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I have the Bengals winning the division, so they're going to be a top 4 seed. I just don't know where to put them in 2, 3, 4. It could be anywhere. But I also, I guess I'll go 3, 4 because I have the Raiders at 4 as well. I think they win the division. But that division is going to be so competitive and so close. That's kind of why I put them at the bottom. Because they may split some games in their division or series. But at 3, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I think they're certainly going to win that division. I think they're going to probably hit their over-win total. I think they're going to impress some people this year with Matt Ryan at quarterback.
They can beat up on that weak division, and especially if they split games with Tennessee.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, even if they go 1-1 with Tennessee, that's huge for them.
Because, So, who are your wild card? That's basically my same, except I got Ravens winning the division for the AFC North.
So you got Colts 3, Ravens 4?
Yes.
All right, yeah. So my wild card was a little bit tough. My heart really wants to put in Broncos country. Let's ride. But I can't. That division is going to be really tough. I think the Raiders surprise as the underdog, but give me the Chiefs at the 5. I have to pick it. It's a little bit more of a boring pick. They're expected to win the division, but I think you have to put them in the playoffs. It was really tough for me deciding between the Chiefs or the Chargers, but I got to go with the Chiefs. So give me Chiefs at 5.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Bengals at 5, Chiefs at 6.
Chiefs is okay. That's respectable. I
think the Chiefs are due for a little bit of a lag this season.
I agree.
Just because I just don't think that, you know.
That's why I almost even left him out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Nah, I wouldn't go that far. Patrick Mahomes is too damn good to be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think sometimes that Patrick Mahomes has, been so good since the start that we kind of take him for granted a little bit.
It's a good point, yeah.
But he's still going to get his team to the playoffs, but it's just not going to be as dominating on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I could see that happen. Yeah, that's I want to leave him out just for like kind of the fun pick and like the underdog, but yeah, you can't. You have to put him in there. But speaking of underdog picks, my 6th seed is a bit of an underdog, and I'm going with the New England Patriots as a wild card slot. And I think they're going to only improve because they were 10-7 last year. I think they're going to improve upon that. I like their offense a lot. Mac Jones is only going to get better. They got Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson in the double-headed backfield. They just brought in Devontae Parker, who's an experienced veteran, to help out with their young receiving core. And their defense, you don't really need to say much about it. It's a Bill Belichick defense. They're going to be sound. So I like the Patriots to make the playoffs. That's my kind of surprise pick.
Okay. Let's see. I would probably take the Titans since they've already been there to be a surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck it in there. Cleveland may. Deshaun Watson will be back after 11 games. So Jacoby Brissett can make that team 500, then he can maybe sneak him in as a 7th seed. Who I currently have the Chargers at the 7th seed.
That's true. We didn't even bring up the Deshaun Watson stuff, which I don't really feel like getting into.
Nah, not really.
But for those that haven't seen, maybe Deshaun Watson's suspension was updated to 11 games and a $5 million fine, which ridiculous. It needs to be more. That's enough said. So continuing on with the 7 seed, I got the Baltimore Ravens. It was tough deciding whether or not, because I see them kind of going 9-8, 10-7 in that range. But yeah, I guess stick them in there. Give the Ravens a playoff spot. Lamar Jackson's pretty good, I guess. What's your 6 and 7?
6 and 7 is Chiefs and then Chargers at 7.
So you got 3 from the same division.
Yep.
See, that's tough, man. I wanted to take those 3, but it's like it's really hard for me to imagine that,
Dude, they could honestly take over all 4, but I just think that the Broncos are going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
I've said it too many times and sticking to my guns.
One of those 4 teams has to have a disappointing year. Like, it's bound to happen. One of them has to underachieve. But all right,
if you look at history, it's probably going to be the Chargers, but I just believe in Herbert way too much.
Yeah. That's why I left out the Chargers of the playoffs, because that was kind of my theory. Like, they always seem to let people down with their expectations. But even though I do think Herbert's a great quarterback, I think they have a great team. It's just it doesn't happen. But
yeah.
All right, let's go NFC now. Starting off, let's just go 2 at a time. I'll go 1-2, and that's Bucks at 1 and the Rams at 2. Enough said. You have the reverse?
Yeah, the reverse. I got Rams 1, Bucks 2.
Yeah, I could see both happening. This was kind of a toss-up, but either way, these are probably the two of the biggest locks to win their division. So I like both these teams at 1 and 2. And moving on now to 3, I know I picked last time when we did division picks a while ago, I picked the Cowboys to win the division. But the more I look at it, the more I think about it, the value is really in the Eagles to win the division as a little bit of a sleeper. And I'm going to go with the Eagles at the 3. kind of going against my guns from a few weeks ago, but people change, things change.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Packers at 3. I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers is too good not to win the NFC North, but I think that the Rams and Bucks are just gonna have a better record than them because he lost Devontae. And then 4 again. There hasn't been a repeat winner of the NFC East since like 2003 or 2008 or something like that. It's been on a very long time. Is the point. And so I don't see that happening again, unfortunately, since the Cowboys didn't get better and the Eagles did. I'm going with the Eagles at 4, unfortunately, and it hurts me.
Respectable. It always is tough admitting, because I almost put the Ravens, because I think it's going to be a toss-up between the Ravens and Bengals for the division, but I can't right now. Just with
they don't have wide receivers though, so you can
That's
you can bank on that probably.
But I forgot to mention, my 4 seed. Although I kind of reverted from my division pick on my 3 seed with the Eagles, I'm going back to my guns with my NFC North pick, and that's the Minnesota Vikings at the 4 seed. Pretty decent underdog. I think if the real key is that Dalvin Cook needs to stay healthy. If Dalvin Cook can stay healthy the entire season, I think they have a real shot. Although it's going to be really close because, like you said, it's goddamn Aaron Rodgers. He's too good. He just wins. But I do think the Packers regress slightly. Although a lot of people have been kind of hyping up the receiving core with Christian Watson, the guy from North Dakota State, I don't like it. So I think there's going to be a bit of regression. I don't know. I'm not buying into it year one. I could be wrong. I might eat my words. He might be a fantasy stud, but who knows? But all right. And then the 5 and 6 for the wild. Actually, let's just do all 3 of our wild cards at once. So for my wild cards, I'm going Packers because they have to be in the playoffs. Then I'm going with the Cowboys at 6. I think it's going to be another one of those weird years in terms of NFC records where they squeak in. And also the Niners at the 7th seed. I'm not too confident on the Trey Lance bandwagon, but I do think they have a good enough team around him to get him to the playoffs regardless of how he does. So put the Niners in the playoffs.
So I got Niners at number 5. I am buying into the hype.
Okay. I can see why people do. I'm just cautious.
I've just started to read too much about how he can just take off supernova. Kyle Shanahan's never had an athlete like this, and he just looks like he's gonna be good. He's got a cannon of an arm.
Got that gut feeling.
He didn't make mistakes in college, even though it was FCS level. Still, no interceptions in 1 year. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He did throw an interception in his only game of the 2020 COVID season. Which is kind of funny, but I'm buying into the Trey Lance hype. And then Cowboys at number 6. I still think my Cowboys make the playoffs because we're going to the Super Bowl. Duh.
Okay.
And then number 7, Minnesota.
All right, so it looks like we got the same 7 teams, just in a bit of a different order. Like, I think, for the most part, this year's NFL playoffs are pretty clear cut, and I know famous last words.
Seems like that right now. It seems like that right now, but it's probably most definitely going to change, and there's going to be some team that takes over.
Yeah,
we can do this.
There might be some major injury that changes things.
We should revisit this halfway through the season.
I'd be down for it. Yeah.
Yeah, like week 9.
That'd be interesting. See kind of how our predictions are doing in terms of standings. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yep.
Alrighty though. So now that we've talked about the playoff, how dumb we're. Hey, you never know.
Saints end up being a 1 seed.
Yeah, that's the only other team. I guess we can talk about that. Are there any other dark horses that you see maybe squeaking into the playoffs?
Just the Saints.
Yeah, that's famous Jameis, baby. That's all I can see, but I don't think so with anybody else. All right though. So now that we got our playoff picture laid out, let's get into our Super Bowl predictions. And I'll start us off because I already kind of teased who I have winning. So in the AFC Championship game, I got the Bills defeating the Colts. I have the Colts making the championship game as a bit of a surprise. And then I have the Bucks beating the Eagles, again, as a bit of a surprise. I think there's going to be 2 deep playoff runs by those teams. in the NFC Championship. And then for the Super Bowl, I got Josh Allen getting a ring, defeating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. What about you?
So for me, I'm going to go with Rams-Bucks NFC Championship game. Brady gets his revenge, goes to the Super Bowl. And then
I can see that.
Bills-Chargers. Chargers make it all the way to the AFC Championship game as 7th seed.
Okay.
And then Bills take over Chargers. And then I have the Bucks beating the Bills in the final. Tom Brady's just too damn good. He gets number 8.
Yeah, no, see, I agree. I went back and forth, honestly, between the Bills and Bucks. I really like the Bills team this year, and, obviously, tough break last year, so in the playoffs. But I don't know. Yeah, it's Tom Brady. He's coming out of retirement. He's probably going to win a damn ring just to piss off whoever leaked that he was retiring before he wanted to officially announce it. That's just what Tom Brady does. But all right, and to wrap up our NFL predictions now, let's get into the awards for the 2022 season, starting off with the big daddy, the granddaddy of them all, and that is the MVP award. I'm going to go a little bit out of the box. Not one of the heavy favorites, but as you've heard from multiple episodes in recent history, we are on the Raiders hype train. Give me Derek Carr at plus 2,800. I like the value there. I like the value. I'm scared, but I like it.
Okay. Wow. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Justin Herbert. He's my pick. I already got money on it.
Expected.
Plus
1,000. I
1,000.
expected you to go with that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I could see that happening too. It's just for him to win the MVP, I think they have to have they have to either win the division or have that 5 seed locked up. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because Josh Allen's a heavy favorite at plus 600. So moving on now to Offensive Player of the Year. And I have 2 picks. I have one realistic pick and one kind of dart throw pick. And I'm going with Justin Jefferson. Jay Jettas at plus 1,600 odds. He's bound to have a good year. He's been crazy consistent ever since he came into the league. I don't see him declining in any way, shape, fashion, or form. So I like the odds on it. And then my dart throw pick is Deandre Swift at plus 6,000. Crazy odds. He's going to be utilized insanely. His workload is going to increase exponentially this season. So give me DeAndre Swift. Who do you got?
My boy, my man, Cooper Kupp. He is going nowhere. Okay.
Cooper.
You can't guard him. Can't defend him. In the Super Bowl, they knew they were going to Cooper Kupp every single fucking play, and he made every single play. Okay? Yeah. He caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. He caught the game winner. He's the man. He's not going to go anywhere. He can run routes better than anyone else in the league. I mean, he's the number 1 wide receiver, and he's going to prove it again this year.
Oh, God, you just gave me Eli Apple flashbacks mentioning the Super Bowl winning catch. God damn it.
Sorry about that.
All right, no, but that's a respectable pick. I mean, it's really tough going. I've been going back and forth on Jefferson and Kupp as to which receiver is going to have the best year this year. So it's honestly a coin flip between those 2 guys. So next up, let's just stick with offense, and we'll go Offensive Rookie of the Year this time. So for me, I've mentioned it. I'm very high on Chris Olave in New Orleans. I think he's going to even take over Jarvis Landry as the wide receiver 2. If Michael Thomas works out, who is quite literally an enigma, I have no idea what's going on with him. So give me Chris Olave at plus 800. I think he's going to fit right into that offense.
Okay. I'm going with Skye Moore. I know I just said Pat Mahomes has no weapons, but if your best weapon's a rookie wide receiver, then you're not exactly in the best place in terms of weapons. But I can see him targeting him early and often to be the guy, and so take over as the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. I like Skye Moore a lot. I think he's going to have a big opportunity to fill that Tyreek Hill role in Kansas City. All right, so now on to defense, starting with the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not going to get cute with this pick. I wanted to get cute and kind of think outside of the box, but there's really only a handful of guys that have a chance of winning the award. and I'm going with the favorite, and that's Myles Garrett at plus 650 to get it for the first time.
I got to go. I went with him last year. I'm going to go with him again because he's the best defensive player in football, and that's Aaron Donald.
Yeah, for me, it's really between Garrett, Aaron Donald, and TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. Yeah, that's pretty much the three-headed monster there.
Yeah, those are by far the best three defensive players in the league. But I think it'll be interesting to see because the reason I went with Garrett of those three, it was a toss-up for me, but I think he's going to kind of have to step up big time in those 11 games that Deshaun Watson's out. They're going to need stops. So he's the guy to make the plays. So, all right, and then on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. Again, I didn't get cute at all. I went with the heavy favorite, and that's Aiden Hutchinson at plus 500. Dude's a monster. Dude's looking really good in the preseason. And who else do the Lions have? He's going to be the focal point of that defense.
Hey, I got my defensive rookie of the year pick last year, right, with Micah Parsons, and I think I'm gonna go 2 years in a row here. I'm riding with you with Hutch.
Yeah, I think it's almost like I don't want to say obvious, but there's a reason he's the favorite. Come on. Yeah, come on. This dude's a beast. Yeah.
He's a much more polished guy than Trayvon Walker.
I thought about going with Derek Stingley Jr. because even though he's had, his concerns of being drafted that high, yada, yada, I think that, the Texans aren't a good football team. So they're going to be in a lot of situations. Wait, no, I'm tripping. I just completely reversed my train of thought. I was going to say they're going to be in a lot of situations where the opponent is passing. That's the opposite of what I meant to say. They're going to be in a lot of situations where the opponent is running. So scratch that, rewind, go with Hutchinson for sure. All right,
I thought about throwing in Sauce Gardner, but I was like, probably not.
That'd be the fun pick. I think that'd be the fun pick because everybody loves Sauce just because of the name.
Yeah, he's Sauce.
And then last but not least, Coach of the Year. I'm sticking with the Lions. I have him for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, so I'll go with another Lion, and that's Dan Campbell. Big football guy. We've talked about it multiple times. He was a great hire for them. He may have the potential to turn around the Lions, and that's saying something, because this is an organization that hasn't done shit in a long time. So Dan Campbell at plus 1,600. If they get 8 wins, that is justifiable for Coach of the Year, in my opinion.
Okay. For me, I'm going Josh McDaniels, riding that Raiders train, because if he can actually get them to win the division, then he is no doubt the Coach of the Year.
You're right. Yeah, that is a good pick. If you're really going with the Raiders, you're right. He has to win it if they win.
Yeah, and so they also like to give it to first-year head coaches. I know he's not technically a first-year head coach, but it's also been about 10 or 15 years since he's coached. So I'm rocking with him.
Yeah, I like that pick. Yeah, those are both pretty good values, and he's like plus 1,800. So
yeah, I thought about going Brandon Staley again. He was my pick last year, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, he's the favorite.
Gotta go with McDaniels.
All right, so that wraps up our 2022 NFL predictions. Like Elijah said, we'll probably check in at some point on how we're doing in like week 9, midseason, around there. But yeah, I always just love talking about this stuff because it just gets me all jittery and excited for kickoff to start. So let's wrap things up now with a short segment of Love It or Loathe It. So how about I'll give you the first set. So first one up is LeBron James signs a massive 2-year, $97.1 million contract with the Lakers and has the option to become a free agent in 2024.
Yeah, I love it because he's worth it. He's worth that money in terms of just pure dollar amount that he's going to bring to the Lakers. Somebody was like, somebody in the office was like, "You see, LeBron got $100 million, blah blah blah." Like, that's bullshit. And I was like, dude, no, like, he's worth it. He's worth that. Like, there's no question about it.
I mean, his previous contract wasn't like although this is absurd money, his previous contract wasn't that much less. Like, he was pretty much making around the same yearly amount.
4 years, 196, or was it 4 years, 200?
I think it was. I don't know, but he was making slightly less than 50 a year.
Okay.
This one's like barely more than his last contract, I'm pretty sure. But it just looks like more because it's 2 years, 97 million. Like,
Yeah.
It's basically 50 mil a year, which is just crazy. So, all right, next up though, highly touted prospect Brett Batty hits a home run in his first major league at bat for the New York Mets.
I love it. I love prospects. That was always my dream as a kid, to be called up in baseball. My very first MLB at bat be a home run. So anytime that happens, I'm just like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and his whole family was there in attendance and watched it. So yeah,
Geeking out. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, how can you not be romantic about baseball? But all right, last but not least for you, we got Zach Wilson to only miss 2 to 4 weeks after a slightly scary knee injury in the preseason.
I love it. I saw love today. Yeah, I heard he got carted off or something, and I was like, oh shit! Like, I want to see him be good. I don't want to see you guys fail. So the fact that he's only going to miss, I actually heard that's going to be 4 to 6 weeks now. So he may miss the couple first weeks of the season, but hey, as long as it's not like a torn ACL and he's gone for the year, I'm about it.
Yeah, that's okay, but still a bummer for the Jets, who are just hoping to at least win like 2 more games. But all right, let's switch gears. What do you got for me?
So NBA retires Bill Russell's number 6 lead wide. Players currently wearing number 6 will be grandfathered in.
So this may be an unpopular opinion, but I loathe this. Yeah, I love Bill Russell, okay? Don't get me wrong. I know, I don't want to be like the asshole, right? Because like Bill Russell is one of the most important people in the history of the NBA. He's done so much for basketball. I just don't really like the idea of retiring a number league-wide. I get it for a franchise.
Jackie Robinson?
That is the one exception. Like, I understand the Jackie Robinson. See, because, like, I was just about to bring that up. Is like, I don't have any problems with Jackie Robinson. Because, like, Mariano Rivera was grandfathered in when that happened because he still got to wear 42. Because now, like, guys like LeBron who wear 6 are going to be able to continue to wear 6.
I thought for a second LeBron, like, my first thought was, like, what about LeBron? He just switched back.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if they made him switch again.
Yeah, so I thought that too whenever I first read it. But yeah, I don't want to be the asshole, but I just don't really like, the league retiring. Like, I would rather see the Celtics retire it, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the asshole. But all right, what do you got next?
Deshaun Watson gets 11 games.
Yeah, we already talked about it, like, just a tad bit. I loathe it. This is absolutely ridiculous. It needs to be more.
Okay. Multiple fights have broken out at Panthers-Patriots joint practices. Have you seen this?
I have seen a little bit about it, and I love it just in general because I love whenever preseason fights break out. It's always entertaining. It always happens in these joint practices, bro. Like, almost, I wonder what the rate is of fights that break out versus, a just completely pleasant practice whenever they do a joint practice or scrimmage type scenario. Probably absurdly high. These guys break out in fights all the time. My favorite is whenever, like, Martellus Bennett, I forgot who it was, but it was a rookie, and Martellus Bennett, like, threw him on the ground, like, threatened to, like, snap his neck and shit. Got way out of hand. But, yeah, so I love it. I think it's kind of just funny whenever these training camp fights break out, almost like in hockey. You just love seeing a fight. So, yeah, I'll go with love it. But, alrighty, though, that is going to be it for this week's episode. Always a good time doing predictions. It's kind of the fun part of the preseason. So, next week, of course, going to be more football, more getting – as we're inching closer and closer, it's pretty much what we're going to be talking about, unless some other crazy off-season stuff goes on in other sports. But for now, thank you all for listening. You stayed in till the end, and we will be back again on regular schedule Wednesday next week, live on all the same places. So, all right, yeah, peace.